You know, it's blinking low, so let's just do the fuel now. The other reason to test out the fuel bag today is to see how much of it actually fits into this tank. Because sometimes I question the statements from the manufacturers on how much something can actually fit. It is held on here quite precariously, which I don't really like, but it's the only way I can really do it right now. I'll probably figure out a better way to do it later. I have a good way of fitting it on when it's empty, just not when it's full. Yeah, this thing is pretty heavy when it's full. Tent poles, and buried in there is the filler neck. I keep the filler neck in this just so that I don't have gas leaking into my other stuff. But also, if it's raining, it prevents water from getting into the filler neck. Excuse me. So if you have this just sitting in your bag somewhere or sitting on the outside, water can get into this thing. And even if there's just a couple little drops in here, and then you go to put it on and put that in your tank, you're going to get water in your fuel. And that's generally not a good idea, especially when you're out on the trail. So that's why I keep it in a separate bag, to keep it safe. And I just did fill this bag up like, I don't know, 15-20 minutes ago. So it feels a little weird just, you know, dumping it out right away, but this is all for practice. The smell of gasoline. It's not quite as easy to use as, say, a gas can, because it's not rigid, but you get used to it. Whoa. And that's what I mean, like there's still gas in here and that tank is full. That's exactly why I said I don't always trust what the manufacturers say when it comes to capacities of things. I'm going to let all that vent off or vaporize. Luckily it's a hot day, so that shouldn't take too long. And that's how you spill gas all over your engine and seat and tank. So that makes sense. There's still about a half gallon in this bag. And I just got to the blinking light, which is a half gallon, so now I gotta figure out what to do with this, since it's only partway full. Something I'm not quite sure of is if Ziploc bags are gas proof or gas resistant. These gas bags are actually quite safe, although most people might think they wouldn't be. a lot of racing vehicles, like top-end racing vehicles, have gas bladders instead of hard gas tanks, because in a crash, a gas tank has a tendency to crack and rupture, where a gas bladder will move with the impact. I mean, there's obviously limits to how far that can go, but I think the reason does make sense, or the reasoning makes sense. I don't mind if it moves around a little bit, I just don't want it to move around a lot. There's probably a much simpler way to get all these straps to work together. This one is not really doing anything other than just being here. This green one. I'd say all it's doing is making sure that these don't go outward at all. I'd say that's probably flashed off enough. I should have remembered there was still half a gallon in the tank. That was a little negligent of me. But in my defense, the gas was coming out a little faster than I thought it would. And now we have a full tank. So let's go over to trip B. Zero that. 939 miles on this bike so far. And ain't she a beaut. So, well, thanks for watching this video on how to use the gas bag. It's pretty easy, but there's things to look out for. Like, know how much fuel is in your tank, and how much will be left in the bag. And again, don't forget to vent this, because the only story that I've heard of any of these rupturing is a guy who was in the desert, had it full, didn't vent it, and it burst due to the pressure. So just be aware of that, and use common sense. So until next time, see ya.